talk about Meeting Street and their early education, early childhood center, and people who attend the Grace School, like Danica. She was a co-host back in 2011, and we want to learn a little bit more about Danica now.
I was pregnant with Danica. It was a normal, healthy pregnancy. 5 months when we did our first ultrasound, the ultrasound tech noticed a little extra fluid in her brain and recommended we go for a level 2 ultrasound. At that ultrasound, they informed us that she had an arachnoid cyst up in the top of her brain. So we brought her home, and for about 4 or 5 weeks, she seemed to be doing everything a normal little baby did. At 5 weeks old, we noticed her doing some funny little twitching motion where she kind of seemed like she was out in space a little bit, so we immediately brought her to Hasbro. They hooked her up to an EEG machine the next morning, and it was determined that she was experiencing seizures. And then they did an eye exam to either rule out or give us the diagnosis of Aicardi syndrome. And that was the sure sign for the diagnosis for Aicardi syndrome. You know, we were basically told that our daughter would, if she was lucky, would be able to chew and swallow food. And that talking, sitting, wasn't likely for her. And then we were told on the next page that the average life expectancy of a child with Aicardi syndrome is to be 8 years old.
The first 4 weeks of her life, she was, in our view, a perfectly healthy little baby.
There were a couple of days of devastation, I think, for our family, where everybody just cried. And then we all kind of snapped out of it and said, this is not how we're going to let our daughter live. We're not going to let her live by a diagnosis. And we're going to do everything and anything to give her the best possible life that we could give her, no matter how long it's going to be. Because you kind of realize at that point, not everybody is guaranteed tomorrow. That's when we called Meeting Street.
She's 10 now, and she's doing amazing. We're told by the hospital staff one of the best places is to call is Meeting Street. Because of that, she is able to do a lot of things the doctor said she would never be able to do.
Danica has been included from the very beginning of coming here at Meeting Street. When she started in kindergarten, after the early intervention program in preschool, there was a Valentine's Day dance, and Danica was walking, but still needed guidance and a hand to hold. We walked into the gym, and they had the little music playing, and like 3 children from the class ran up to her and grabbed her hands, and they were like, Danica, come dance with us. And they brought her out into the middle of the gym, and they were holding her hands, and she was like hopping and swaying and dancing with her friends, and it was like, him and I were in tears. We were like, this is amazing, like she's included. The most recent thing that she got to do, which was awesome for us, was Danica got to run for treasurer for student council, and she was partnered with another child, and they had a speech and voting. I never thought that she would ever be running for, student council position, and it was just so cool how she was included in all of that, and she was so proud when she got to stand up there and she was clapping.
Meeting Street has always encouraged us to set goals and then go past them. Because of the therapist at Meeting Street, she's able to have her own kind of twist on sign language and using her iPad to communicate, so she can communicate back, even though she doesn't talk. But man, like, I don't think there's much that she can't do. I mean, she might not be able to run a marathon, but she's able to touch people's lives. She's awesome.
And touching people's lives, so much more important than running a marathon. A great piece there from Danica. Amanda Silva. Amanda, you have a long title.
I do.
You do.
I wear a lot of hats.
You do. Early Intervention Assistant Director, ELC Education Coordinator at Meeting Street. So Amanda's worked here for 13 years, but this is her first telethon.
It is. It's my first telethon being on camera, so it's
Okay,
exciting.
so we're going to raise the microphone just a little bit. All right, so
Perfect.
let's talk a little bit about Danica and her growth. Her dad says how she's always been hitting goals.
She has. So Danica first started with us when she was in early intervention, and it was amazing to see the growth that she had there. So early intervention is a program where we worked with Danica's parents, coached them within their home, and worked on her goals through daily routine, so it was really natural, and she was achieving things. And then we were really lucky that when she transitioned out of early intervention, she started with our Early Learning Center here at Meeting Street. And again, as soon as she got around her peers, the power of her peers was amazing. So she started growing even more and more. So we've been able to watch her grow from when she was a toddler all the way now, and she's in our grade school now. So it's amazing to watch.
And we talk about goals. That's really for all students, right?
It's for all
You look at them and you set a plan for them.
Exactly. So what we do is, when kids are little, we look at how they're functioning in their natural environments, how they're getting around, and we write goals with the families. And then once they transition into our Early Learning Center in the grade school, we really look at academics and figuring out how do we get her to reach her goals there along with her peers.
All right, so if you go on the website, you're going to see all these different schools. The Carter School is for kids that are in high school that have special needs, but the Gray School is for everybody. Pre-K through 8, only one in the nation that's inclusion.
Absolutely.
Kids with and without disabilities.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing.
All right, we're going to hear from Margaret Dalton, who's the head of school here at Meeting Street, and she's with Casey Ferreira, Director of Early Childhood Programs, to talk more about this.
So you just saw our story about Danica and how important inclusion is to both our families and our children. Our staff are always looking for new and inventive ways to make sure all of the curriculum is suited for all children and everyone can be able to participate in an activity.
That same philosophy of inclusion and that every child matters and that every child has a place in our classrooms continues through the Gray School. So Danica started in kindergarten at our Gray School and is now in our middle school program, which brings a whole new level of academic challenges for all of our students, as well as extracurricular activities and things like that. Everything that we do at the Gray School, we have to think of how do we make that inclusive. If we're going to have a basketball team, how do we make sure that our students with and without special needs both have access to that?
And we are still in the Blue Cross